The D, man.
Yeah, shout out my nigga from D's Media, you feel me?
Yo, it's your boy D's Media back again with another video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel on the road to 100K. Today we're going to talk about, man, SADA Hood just exposed them for being a fake gang member and one day just picking up a rag and banging blood. Let's jump straight into it.
Like Bartier, where you look at Block Party, where you change the C to the X, or Activated, where you change the C to the K. And you have blood lyrics throughout your...
Cause I'm a blood.
Now, is there a lot of Bloods and Crips in Detroit?
Yep.
Do you know the history of that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, what age you started to join that?
22, 23.
So later on?
Yeah, I always grew up in the neighborhood. I grew up in the neighborhood of the Bloods, but yeah, I wasn't carrying my flag or banging until I was like a little bit older.
Right, because you got a flag on your leg right now.
Hell yeah.
You know, I'll be honest.
My personal opinion, SADA, you just got bigger than the program. And when you linked up with Doug and them, I don't think you really thought how your hood and all of them Bloods would have looked at you after that. Because, I mean, bro, you thought about your back and you thought about, you know, just doing it for 313 day. But I think that was the nail in the coffin for your hood. Because if you go do your homework, Doug entourage and SADA entourage, they don't get along. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that the issue is between SADA and Doug, because obviously them dudes was together. But they entourages don't mix. And I think that that's what got his hood on that type of timing with him. Just my personal opinion. It don't surprise me, you know, that SADA Hood is coming out and speaking bad on him. Let me tell you something about these street dudes, right? Once you ain't a benefit to them, once you stop looking out for them, once they feel like you not accessible and you out of reach, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to say this about Detroit, right? If you base this upon, you know, the West Coast rules and regulation and how the West Coast do things as far as gang politics, you going to say that ain't none of this stuff sanctioned in Detroit. And I can agree with you. You know, a lot of this stuff, you know, the 82 Bloods, the Power Rules, the SMB, a lot of this stuff is not really sanctioned like how it is back in Cali. But I wouldn't come to Detroit and tell these dudes that they fake gangbangers neither. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about these dudes in Detroit, you might as well call them renegades. Because they'll tell you that they ain't sectioned. They'll show respect to the West Coast, but they'll let you know this is some Midwest stuff. So at the end of the day, it does not surprise me that dudes one day was regular dudes claiming East Side, West Side, 7 Mile, 6 Mile, Puritan, Schoolcraft, and then one day they just woke up and said, you know what? I'm SMB, I'm Zone Life, I'm 82 Headbanger, I'm Power Rule. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel like, because when I was coming up, you had a couple dudes on the east side that was gang banging. Them smoke camp dudes, I gotta give it to them. Doug and his people, you know, they was always Crips. But other than that, it was not how it is today, to where every hood is either Crip or Blood. You know what I'm saying? So you ask yourself this question, right? If all of these gangs ain't really sanctioned, how can you really sit here and say, SADA, you a fake Blood? You would pretty much be the same thing you point out about him. Somebody can point out about you. This ain't Cali. Like, this stuff ain't sanctioned. But I'm going to tell you again, I wouldn't come to Detroit and tell these dudes they fake Crips and fake Bloods and fake GDs, because I'm trying to tell you, they'll get on that type of timing with you. But I just feel like this, right? I feel like the issue with SADA Hood, I feel like this junk been brewing for years. You know, if anybody from the D, you already know him and John Boy had situations long ago. And I thought, you know, they had put this stuff, you know, under wraps, and I thought, you know, it was over. But recently, you know, his hood, Zone Life, them S&B boys, not all of them, because I'm pretty sure Eastside Wine is rocking out with SADA to the end. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a mixed feeling. You're gonna ask some dudes, and they'll probably go in your mouth for calling SADA fake blood. Then you're gonna ask some dudes that's probably on bad terms with him. They're gonna tell you he phony. They're gonna tell you he fake. They're gonna tell you he this. They're gonna tell you he that. But if SADA came back to his hood and passed out chains, gave out verses, did this for the homies, did this, you know, was willing to risk his life, his freedom, and everything he got going on, dudes will call SADA a real one. See, this is what I don't like about the streets, man. See, the streets want you to do better with your life. They want you to be successful. They want you to be, you know, the best you can be. But then yet, they the first ones to hypocrite you when you go against that. You know what I'm saying? SADA is probably the biggest name probably over there. Then, you know, Draco, Bino, all them dudes, you know what I'm saying? You know, then you got Lil Mello, all them dudes. But, you know, SADA really put on for that jump. But like I'm going to say again, if we going to sit here and call SADA a fake blood because one day he just picked up a rag and started gang banging, then that means we'd be calling out a lot of dudes here in Detroit. I'm going to say again, don't nobody care about it being sanctioned back in California because all of these dudes is running around here. It's dudes that I seen yesterday that was just average people, and then now today they 82 headbangers. Dudes go do 2 years in Jackson prison and come home, tattoos all on their face. I'm blood this, I'm blood that, I'm whoop whoop whoop. So at the end of the day, like I'm gonna say again, to the West Coast, they probably gonna make fun of SADA because, like I say, it ain't sanctioned. But if we gonna call SADA out, it's gonna be a whole lot of dudes here in the D that we gonna call out. My personal opinion, the reason why I never joined none of this stuff, because I didn't think it was real. You know what I'm saying? How we banging something that come all the way from Cali, or how we banging something that started on the prison yard. Man, listen here, man. Dudes in the D always ran off of their hood. You know what I'm saying? At first it started off if you east side, you west side. Then it go off if you from Joy Road, if you from Schoolcraft, if you from East Warren, if you from Cheddar Grove, it go off the hood. It really wasn't always about Crips and Bloods. But if you ride through the D now, hey man, I'm trying to tell you, it look like Compton. But it's your boy D's Media signing out. Peace, positivity, network growth. Let's save these kids. It ain't never too late. We tore down these communities. Let's build them back up. But SADA Hood and his homies, man, his day one homies, they coming out and calling dude a fake blood and letting it be known that, you know, his whole image is just, I guess they trying to say like it's just created. Like one day he just jumped up and said, I'm about to bang blood. But I think him and a lot of dudes did that. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
The D, man. Yeah, shout out my nigga from D's Media. You feel me?